Our proposal is that we create bee-safe environments on the NCTC campuses, such as sanctuaries, habitats, or even just adding a small garden. We are also proposing that with the creation of said habitats, that we offer information regarding bees, their environments, and how to create a bee-friendly environment at home. As Barry Benson from the Bee Movie once said, "But let me tell you about a small job. If you do it really well, it makes a big difference." We are wanting to make a big difference in our and surrounding communities, whether it be as small as removing the use of pesticides or a bigger change, such as creating gardens or planting new foliage. The bee population has been in decline for a long time because of the use of pesticides, the destruction of their habitats, lack of diversity in foliage, and more. If we can manage to get rid of even just a small thing as toxic pesticides, we can begin to make a dent in our goal to bring the bees' population back to its former glory. In our research, we have seen success within nonprofit organizations such as Pollinator Partnership and college campuses all across the United States, as well as campuses in Texas like UT Austin. With the success of bee-friendly environments around the country, we know that creating another one on our very own NCTC campus is very possible. It may just take some time. But with everyone's help, it is highly achievable.
The declining bee population will not happen overnight. It is a series of steps you take over time. There are some things that you can do right now to help the bees, and that includes changing the pesticides you use to a safer and healthier alternative chemical. Another thing you can do is to educate yourself and others. This is important because knowledge is power, and the more you know about bees, why it is important to protect them, and how to protect them, you can share with others and make a difference. Creating bee sanctuaries can take time to create and take time to attract bees, but that is the most helpful thing. By doing these things, it definitely helps the bees, but it will be a while before there's a noticeable difference within the bee population. When you are doing these things, whether it be changing your household pesticides or chemicals, creating bee gardens or sanctuaries, purchasing natural bee products, or donating to other organizations, there is always going to be a cost. When you create bee sanctuaries, there is a lot of supplies, gear, and labor that go into it. Most of the time, people volunteer to help create bee sanctuaries, and that means no cost. There are supplies you will need, including gear to keep you safe, which costs around $150 to $300. Plants and bee-friendly chemicals for the garden, which are around $250. Tools, which range anywhere between $100 to $300. You may also need to purchase bees if you do not plan to get them naturally. This can cost around $100 to $350. In total, it will cost around $1,650, including the purchase of the bees. Ethicality is very important when proposing a solution to a community problem. There are a few ethical problems that can arise. Having a code of ethics handbook is very important because it lays out the rules and mores everyone needs to follow to ensure that there are no ethical problems. This handbook should include a checklist and instructions on how to handle the problem. Another thing to avoid ethical problems is to research adequately.
A major key element for this proposal's success is to have team management. When regarding team management, it is important to have these key points: structure, role assignment, collaboration, and backing. Structure, for example, is to have a hierarchy of people, from leaders to workers to really anyone working in like a business is what we would need to do here. This is including with volunteers or NCTC staff or NCTC students, because it's all going to start there. Then once we start from there, it'll go on towards the community. And one of those key elements is to have understanding of each individual's role assignment. Without that, people would be clueless, not know what their job is, not know what their role is. It's very not unproductive. And so when everyone has their roles and we have enough volunteers in a perfect world, collaboration between those groups is actually one of the most key points. If we cannot work together, then saving the bees or spreading the word to the community can lead to a hopeless endeavor. Then once collaboration, role assignment, and structure is all sound and safe, backing from NCTC and the community is also another major key role. This is what's going to give credibility and also help us branch out our audience to more than just the local community and NCTC's efforts. Now, we went a little bit into method and procedure, but this is another key element once the management is down. So once we have our volunteers or our workers or volunteers, we would have to give, like I said earlier, structures. And some of that kind of structure or the method of doing things is, first of all, explaining the main goal. You always want to keep your main goal in focus. You cannot lose this. This is something that has to be reiterated not only to the staff or the volunteers, but also to the community as well, which is helping the bees. We have to spread the word and say, hey, if you could do this simple thing in your own home or with in your local community, major things can be accomplished. And that goes along with networking as well. If NCTC is backing us in this program, then we could reach out to other colleges, other leaders in the community, and spread the word. This would also help maybe bring seminars into the program by giving guest speakers or having events scheduled in order to spread the word and get out to the community about the bee population and how it's been declining and how simple changes can stop that. And how we network and create these seminars is all from the groundwork. Volunteers would have to reach out and do that kind of work. We would have to have a solid plan in order to do that kind of groundwork. Because in reality, that is the lowest part of the totem pole when it comes to it, but that's what produces everything. We would need to have people who know connections or know social media very well. We would need writers to make pamphlets. We would need, people to make scripts for these guest speakers, or also to have some sort of booking experience into planning these events. And then once these events take root and really start to grow, we can start expanding that past just like the local community that NCTC provides, and reach out to more of maybe a state, to a country, to a worldwide phenomenon. Thank you.